in the history of biosciences, one pathway that has made dramatic change in research is the discovery of TCA cycle. It was discovered in 1937 by Hans Krebs and Johnson. Now, there are lots of contributing factors to the discovery of TCA cycle, which is amazing. So, let us begin looking at this pathway from 1932. So, what happens in 1932? Remember, this is the time Krebs and Heinzelett are working on urea cycle. They were working with the tissues from pigeon, heart and kidney cells. They're working on that. So, Krebs observes that the organic acids like citrate, fumarate, malate, succinate, they are oxidized rapidly. So, that was an observation in 1932 Krebs is making. Then comes in 1935 another discovery. 1935 by Albert St. George. So, Albert St. George in 1935, a Hungarian scientist, he makes a discovery that the oxygen consumption increases in the tissues when organic acids like citrate, malate, etc. are added. So, consumption of oxygen is increasing. Another discovery is in 1937 by Franz Knoop. Remember, Franz Knoop was working on fatty acid metabolism, fatty acid oxidation. So, Franz Knoop discovers that citrate is getting converted to alpha ketoglutarate acid and succinate. That is another discovery. Okay, citrate is getting converted to alpha ketoglutarate acid and succinate. In the same year, again, Krebs discovers that he used a structural analog of succinate. That substance is malonate. So, malonate is able to inhibit succinate dehydrogenase enzyme. He discovers that. Therefore, what gets accumulated? Succinate, citrate is getting accumulated. Alpha ketoglutarate is getting accumulated. So, look at the brilliance of this man. What he does is, he puts all this discovery, connects all of them, makes a pathway. Okay, not the pathway that we know today, but he connects them and says that there is something called a pathway of tricarboxylic acids. So, he comes up with the concept of tricarboxylic acid cycle, gets published. Remember, Krebs had no idea about the role of acetyl-CoA at that time because it was not discovered. Acetyl-CoA was discovered in 1947 by Lippmann. Lippmann discovers acetyl-CoA much later. Then now with the several research, contributing research, now we have the cycle that as we know it today. So, let us look at this cycle and let us proceed how we understand the nuances of TCA cycle. What is exactly the logic of TCA cycle, which is very interesting. So, in TCA cycle, we have the acetate molecule. So, this acetate molecule, we want to convert that into CO2 plus CO2. We want to break this carbon-carbon bond. Now, in order to break the carbon-carbon bond, it is not very easy for a living system to break this one. It is not thermodynamically feasible. If you want to break this carbon-carbon bond, there are two possibilities. One possibility is, so this is the alpha carbon atom, have a beta carbon atom. If there is a beta carbon atom, then you can remove one carbon atom. And the second possibility is, to this alpha carbon atom have a hydroxyl group. So, this is have a hydroxyl group. So, therefore, these are not possible. Therefore, look at the beauty of the TCA cycle. We are making an oxaloacetic, we are combining acetyl-CoA with oxaloacetic acid, putting a beta carbon atom within the structure and removing CO2 molecules. Look at the intelligence that has gone into constructing this molecule over a period of time. This is the beauty of TCS cycle. This is what we should keep looking in the entire pathway. How strategically molecules are designed in order to derive energy. So, let us begin with step number 1. In step number 1, now understand that acetyl-CoA is made available in the mitochondrial matrix. It already has oxaloacetic acid in limiting concentration. Step number 1 is acetyl-CoA is going to interact with the oxaloacetic acid. Oxaloacetic acid is a 4-carbon compound. So therefore, oxaloacetic acid, this is oxaloacetic acid. So this is going to bind to acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA is CH3COS-CoA. What will happen is this is going to be added here. So you will get, with the molecule of water is required, this CoA will be removed. So you will get CH2COO, that is from acetyl group, plus so you are making, so therefore let us start numbering the carbon atom. So this is carbon number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you are getting a tertiary alcoholic group which is acetyl-CoA, which is succinate. If the coenzyme A is removed, now this is catalyzed by an enzyme known as citrate synthase. Writing it shortly, citrate synthase. Citrate synthase is a very interesting enzyme. So why it is interesting? Because it is it's a very efficient enzyme. It has got 2 lobes. What happens is, first of all, oxaloacetic acid has to bind to this enzyme. So when oxaloacetic acid binding to this enzyme, so the small lobe makes about a 19-degree rotation and it comes closer to the other lobe, the larger portion. So conformational change occurs. With the conformational change occurring, it is able to accommodate acetyl-CoA within the active site of the enzyme. Now this condensation reaction occurs. It is a perfect example of induced fit, perfect example of acid-base catalysis, and a perfect example of random sequential catalysis or kinetics of enzymology. Beautifully, several things can be learned by understanding the mechanism of citrate synthase. From the perspective of TCS cycle, what is important for us is we have made a 6-carbon compound. What happens in the second reaction? Second reaction is, look at this structure. Now, we want to remove a CO2 group, and the CO2 which, in order to remove the CO2 group, to break a carbon-carbon bond, it is very easy if it is a secondary alcohol. So therefore, in order to convert this, bring this OH here, to convert that into a secondary alcohol, a molecule of water is removed, it forms an intermediate, and with a very transient lifespan, and then a molecule of water is added. So therefore, it becomes equal to citrate, that is denoted as isocitrate. This is catalyzed by an enzyme known as aconitase enzyme. So step number 2 is to add to citrate, aconitase is added, a molecule of water is removed and then added. So we are not adding the molecule of water. So the product we will get is, so it is better that we keep track of this the carbon that has come from acetyl-CoA. We keep writing that in blue. So CH2COO, this has come from acetyl-CoA, becomes CH2COO. This is now OH here, HCO. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This becomes isocitrate. we get isocitrate. Now, isocitrate is a secondary alcohol. 1, 2, secondary alcohol. Now, this is a very good substrate for the next enzyme. And the next enzyme is isocitrate dehydrogenase. Isocitrate dehydrogenase enzyme. We are going to have the first oxidative decarboxylation. Isocitrate dehydrogenase is a isoenzyme. You will find it in the mitochondria, you will also find it in the cytoplasm. It has two coenzyme forms can be used. NAD can be used, also NADPH, NAD or NADP plus, and that will remove NAD plus H plus. Okay, so therefore oxidation reduction occurs, a CO2 is removed. Okay, so a CO2 is removed and it becomes, isocitrate becomes alpha ketoglutaric acid. It forms alpha ketoglutaric acid. What is important is which CO2 is removed. So it is removing this CO2. So therefore it would be better that we write in black color. So therefore this CO2 is removed. So once you remove this CO2, let us write the structure here. Alpha ketoglutarate. So therefore blue color still continues from acetate. So it is there. Then it becomes CH2. Now C double bond O, COO, CO. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is alpha ketoglutaric acid. In the next step, it is again undergoing another oxidative decarboxylation reaction. And this oxidative decarboxylation reaction is carried out by alpha ketoglutaric acid dehydrogenase enzyme. A reaction which is very similar to pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme. This enzyme also has got 3 components, E1, E2, E3. Same mechanism, same set of 5 coenzymes are required. Same mechanism. What happens here is another CO2 is gone and this CO2 is gone. So it is an oxidative decarboxylation. And oxidation, that is another NADH is produced. Another NADH plus H plus is made in this particular step. See the beauty, one after the other, carbon dioxide is removed. 2 carbons entered as acetate and 2 carbons are now removed as carbon dioxide. So 2 carbons have been removed. And the net result we are going to get. Now this is alpha ketoglutarate. What is important is we have to add a coenzyme A. That is added, it becomes succinyl-CoA. Okay, exactly similar to pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme. So therefore, this we have got from acetate. So the remaining CH2, C double bond O. Now S-CoA is added here. This is succinyl-CoA. Remember, succinyl-CoA is a molecule with a lot of energy. Okay, so therefore the whole purpose of this TCA cycle is harvest energy, harvest the energy which is inherently present in the linkages. So harvest that energy, we get succinyl-CoA. Once we get succinyl-CoA, we go to the next step, and that is a substrate level phosphorylation. Substrate level phosphorylation is to remove the energy present or transfer the energy which is present in this ester bond, transfer that in the form of an ATP or a GTP molecule. What is going to happen is interesting. So therefore succinyl-CoA, what happens to succinyl-CoA is this is acted upon by an enzyme known as succinyl-CoA synthetase. Okay, succinyl-CoA synthetase, where an inorganic phosphate is needed, an ADP is needed or a GDP is needed. GDP in mammalian system, ADP in bacterial system. So this will be converted to GTP or ATP molecules. So if it is a GTP, it can be converted to an ATP in us by using an enzyme called nucleotide diphosphorkinase, which can convert a GTP into an ATP molecule. So what is happening is the energy which is present here is converted, transformed into ATP or GTP. Example of a substrate level phosphorylation. So what will happen to this molecule? That becomes relatively poor in energy. That is, so remember this has come from acetate, so we'll write here CH2. It has come from acetate and the remaining is this. This is succinate. So we get a 4 carbon compound. 2 carbons have been removed. We get succinate. So now let us very quickly look at in the summary. We allowed a 2 carbon to enter as acetyl-CoA. What we have done so far is 2 carbons have been removed and we have harvested 2 NADH molecules and 1 ATP molecule. This is net gain in the TCA cycle. What is going to happen next is convert the succinate into oxaloacetic acid. How do we do that? Very simple. So the first reaction is catalyzed by succinyl-CoA dehydrogenase enzyme. Remember, this is one enzyme which has a direct link with the electron transport chain. It is bound to the membrane, inner mitochondrial membrane. And this enzyme, it is an FAD dependent enzyme. So therefore, this FAD will extract 2 hydrogens from here and it gets reduced to FADH2. What will happen to the product? So this becomes COO, CH. Now there is a double bond is created. COO. This is known as fumarate. Succinate to fumarate conversion occurs and an FADH2 molecule is produced. Very important to note down, FAD is involved when an alkane is converted to an alkene. Okay, when an alkane is converted to an alkene, FAD is involved. So FADH2 is formed. Remember, this FADH2 will enter into electron transport chain. It will be used. So now, once you have fumarate, now the purpose is to convert this fumarate back into oxaloacetic acid, which is very, very simple. So therefore, fumarate is CH, double bond here, CH and COO. To this, a molecule of water is added, and that is by an enzyme known as fumarase. So you will get CH, okay. So this is another CH and COO and OH and H2. So this is malate. Our energy extraction process does not stop here. And in the last step, this is the last step. In the last step, what happens is malate is converted to, that is with the help of malate dehydrogenase enzyme, it will extract 2 hydrogens. Reduction of NAD plus occurs to NADH and H plus. Reduction occurs. What you will get is where you began. That is COO, CH, COO, C double bond O, CH2, COO. This is the molecule that you will get. That is malate. Now remember, in malate, these 2 carbon atoms have come from the acetyl-CoA. The real acetyl-CoA that entered into TCA cycle is not removed in the first round. If you had allowed a radio-labeled carbon atoms, acetyl-CoA, to enter into cycle, it is not removed. So the oxaloacetic acid that you will get at the end of it, it is still radio-labeled. Okay, so this is how in this cycle, this is a cyclic form, this is how TCA cycle operates. Now you will be able to appreciate the work carried out by the assumptions made by Krebs or St. George or Lippmann or Franz Knuth, how they have connected these intermediates and tried to bring a pathway called TCA cycle. Beautiful discovery. Having looked at the TCA cycle, now we have looked at individual reactions of TCA cycle. Let us see the whole pathway in the form of a cycle. So therefore, in summary form, we began from here, oxaloacetic acid. With the help of an acetyl-CoA, it is getting added to this, condensation occurs, citrate is formed, enzyme is citrate synthase, coenzyme A is removed. Citrate converted to isocitrate, enzyme is aconitase. Isocitrate is the first oxidative decarboxylation. CO2 is removed and NADH is formed. Enzyme is isocitrate dehydrogenase. Then comes the second oxidative decarboxylation. Another CO2 is removed, another NADH is formed. Enzyme is alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase enzyme. Then another substrate level phosphorylation occurs. Enzyme is succinyl-CoA synthetase. GDP is needed, inorganic phosphate is needed. So energy inherently present in the succinate bond, succinyl-CoA bond, coenzyme A bond, that is transferred to GTP. So then we get succinate. And FAD dependent enzyme, that is succinate dehydrogenase, reduces an FADH2. Reduced to an FADH2. Fumarate is formed, an alkene. That is, with the help of a molecule of water, it is converted to malate. Enzyme is fumarase enzyme. Then comes the last step, where MDH will convert malate into oxaloacetic acid, another NADH is formed. So therefore, if you look at the energy yield, so one NADH, second NADH, third NADH, one FADH2 and another GTP. So these are the energy molecules that are produced. We will look at the energetics. Just before getting into energetics, since this pathway is here, let us see how exactly the regulation occurs. When we speak about the regulation of this TCA cycle alone, it is regulated at 3 levels. Level number 1 is the substrate availability. The substrate molecules must be made available. Which are the substrate molecules? One is acetyl-CoA, another one is oxaloacetic acid. These two are crucial. Now, acetyl-CoA can be made in different ways. Beta oxidation can also result into acetyl-CoA. So that is not a problem. Oxaloacetic acid is another important molecule because this has got multiple roles to play. It can be converted to amino acid, it can be converted to glucose, so and it has to also get into the TCA cycle. So therefore, this substrate availability is crucial. First way by which it is regulated. Second way to regulate is allosteric modification. So allosteric modification is also, let us club that with the third one, that is feedback inhibition. Feedback inhibition by the products of the pathway. Which are the products? The products are GTP or ATP, NADH molecules and succinyl-CoA citrate. So these are the products. Repeating, citrate, succinyl-CoA, ATP molecules, NADH molecules. They will regulate in the crucial, so writing it here, citrate, succinyl-CoA. So succinyl-CoA etc. will be product inhibition, ATP and NADH. So these two will regulate all those steps where NADH is produced. So this will regulate here negative regulation and negative regulation. Citrate will regulate here feedback inhibition. Succinyl-CoA will inhibit this enzyme. So this is how regulation occurs at the 3 levels: making the substrate unavailable, feedback inhibition by the product that are getting accumulated, and as well as allosteric regulation. Allosteric regulation, especially molecules like calcium, can regulate because calcium is associated with the energy metabolism, movement of muscles, muscle contraction. So calcium is an indication that energy is needed. This is an important aspect that has to be kept in mind. Another important thing which has to be seen from the malate to oxaloacetic acid. Remember, so malate to oxaloacetic acid, this always remain almost equal. So the concentration of the substrate molecules remain as equal. So therefore, if you look at the KEQ, oxaloacetic acid concentration and the NADH concentration, this will, and the malate concentration and NAD plus concentration. This ratio is very important. This ratio determines in which direction, whether the cycle has to go on or not. So for example, during muscle contraction or when the respiration increases, rate of respiration increases, that is an indication that energy is needed, which is an indication that NAD concentration is increasing. NADH is entering into oxidative phosphorylation. That will stimulate the citrate synthase enzyme to activate the pathway. So therefore, the rate of respiration, the rate of oxygen consumption can activate TCA cycle. So this is how regulation of TCA cycle occurs. Now finally, let us look at the energetics of this particular pathway. So we started with an acetyl-CoA, then we added 3 NAD plus molecules, we added 1 FAD, we added 2 molecules of water, we added 1 ADP plus 1 inorganic phosphate. That resulted in, we got 2 CO2 molecules, acetyl-CoA converted to 2 CO2 plus 3 NADH plus 3H plus 1 FADH2 we got, and also 1 CoA. Okay, so these were the product that we have got it. So and also 1 ATP, forgot. So 1 ATP or GTP we have got. These were the products that we got. Let us convert this into energy. So therefore, in order to write that energy yield, what is expected of you, strictly follow this rule. That is, let us prepare a table. So therefore, this will be the serial number 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the enzyme, and this will be the reaction it is catalyzing, and this will be the ATP or NADH produced or utilized. So therefore, our first reaction is going to be isocitrate dehydrogenase enzyme. Write down the reaction. We produce 1 NADH. If the second reaction is alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase enzyme, there also we got another NADH molecule. And the third step is the succinyl-CoA synthetase enzyme. There we got 1 ATP or GTP, 1 ATP or 1 GTP molecule. Then we got the fourth one is succinate dehydrogenase enzyme. There we got 1 FADH2. And finally, the fifth step is the malate dehydrogenase enzyme. Write down the reaction, and there again we got 1 NADH molecule. So therefore, we have 3 NADH, 1 FADH2 and 1 ATP. So this into this into 2.5, this into 1.5, this into 1, that is equal to 7.5, 1.5 and 1. That is 10 ATP. So now you understand the logic of saying that acetyl-CoA, when it enters into TCA cycle, it can give 10 ATP molecules. This is the logic which is followed. So this is an overall summary of the cycle, the regulation, the stoichiometry and the energetics.